What is the largest sea slug? Can you even name a sea slug? If you are chronically online, you definitely said the blue sea dragon that eats Portuguese man-o'-wars and then uses their venom for itself. You may have also said the leaf sheep, which absorbs chloroplasts from algae it eats to gain energy from photosynthesis. But these animals are so small, they can fit in the palm of your hand. I'm talking about a real monster, the largest sea slug in the entire ocean. The largest of the sea slugs is a freaky looking creature called the Black Sea Hare, with a scientific name, Ablesia vicaria. And they can get up to 1 meter or about 3 feet, which is huge. And that size isn't the only cool thing about them, so join me today to learn about them in this episode of Digital Bestiary, a series where I discuss marine creatures I find fascinating in about 5 minutes. The Black Sea Hare is an inhabitant of the Pacific Ocean and can be found off the coast of California and in the California Gulf. As a Californian, I could definitely find one if this video got, say, about 100 likes. I will find one near my house, outside in the ocean, and document it in the wild. Obviously, not interfering with it, because here at the Samin Marco channel, we respect wildlife, which is just another reason to subscribe. These slugs feed on a diet of brown algae and kelp, which gives it its dark color that make it look like a symbiote out of a Marvel comic book. This diet does a lot of cool things. First, by extracting toxins from the brown algae they eat, the slugs themselves become highly toxic, which leaves them with very few natural predators. Their diet as a grazer also contributes to their large size. While the algae they consume is low in calories, it's highly abundant, especially in their habitat of kelp forests and coastal environments. This abundance of easy-to-access calories allows them to grow quickly, which they need to as they only live for a year. And in that year, the average sea hare gets to about 38 centimeters and 15 pounds, which is pretty big for a slug already. However, the largest specimens we have found have been 99 centimeters and 31 pounds that we know of, which is just huge. Disluglingly huge. And that size makes them bigger than every other slug that we know of. They are also simultaneous hermaphrodites. That's just not getting out of my mouth. It's on the screen. And that means they have both male and female sex organs. Larger individuals seem to be preferential mates and are generally the sperm recipients. Now, black sea hares are part of a larger group of slugs known as sea hares, colloquially, scientifically known as the order Aplycidae, I think. It's on the screen again. And that order houses all sea hares who get their name from their rhinophores, the two little things that you see them. I think it's a bit of a stretch. Rhinophores are a chemosensory organ that help them navigate, and at the base of the rhinophores are rudimentary eyes. And other sea hares can actually release toxic ink to deter predators. Some can also use jet propulsion to move. The black sea hare does not use jet propulsion, but they do glide through the water using their fleshy wing thingies called parapodia, and they can move surprisingly quick. All sea hares contain internal shells as well. The basic life cycle for sea hares is pretty simple. They start out as these eggs that are laid in strands of like millions and millions of eggs, and these strands kind of look like a bunch of noodles. Then they hatch and end up in a larval stage. This stage is planktonic, meaning they cannot control their movement in the ocean and just flow in the currents. However, in 3 months, they are strong enough swimmers to swim on their own, and by 4 months, they are sexually mature. Adults seem to live in shallower water than juveniles. The black sea hare is closely related to the Californian sea hare, and these two species show an interesting case of niche partitioning. Niche partitioning is when species evolved to fill different niches in order to use the same environment differently so they can coexist without competing, and generally just making it easier for both species to get the resources they need. Both of these sea hare species are grazers that feed on algae. However, black sea hares feed on brown algae and kelp, while California sea hares feed on red algae. This allows both species to thrive in this intertidal coastal zone on the California coasts. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hype and share the video as well as liking it, because if it gets 100 likes, I will be going out and finding this sea hare and filming it for y'all. And then so you don't miss that, you might as well subscribe. And in addition, you'll find out about more amazing sea creatures. Let me know if you have any questions and suggestions for creatures I should cover. I'm Samin Marco, and this has been Digital Bestiaries. Thank you so much for watching. And click that video right there.